Hey everybody, Jason Shadrick here with Premier Guitar. We're at Premier Guitar headquarters, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, with Drew Shirley from Switchfoot.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Who's in town tonight to play with Lifehouse and Bryn Elliott.
Yes.
Downtown at the amphitheater. We have brought him in the office today. We're gonna ask him a bunch of questions. We're gonna have you guys ask him a bunch of questions. We're gonna talk about your signature guitar here and your pedal board that you haul in right off the bus.
That's right.
So we'll start with that. But first, as we get started, why don't you tell us about this is the guitar you had in the rig rundown, correct?
Yes. So if you haven't watched my rig rundown, there's the plug right there. You got to see it. It's on their website, Premier Guitar, and it was really fun. We filmed it out in Nashville, actually at the Ryman. So with John. So so this guitar, I'm just going to be showing you my gear and some stuff about guitar. Hope you guys spread the word while you're watching this. But yeah, it's good to be here. This is Elliott guitar, and it's my signature model, and it's called the Royal Haven. And it was actually named after my youngest daughter, who's the loudest and most commanding daughter of all. I guess that happens with the youngest one a lot. And so it's called the Royal Haven. And so I've got a collection of Epiphone coronet guitars that I really love and have played for years in the studio. And I just love P90s, so we kind of modeled this look after that. But the Epiphone guitar was always a little bit small to hold and play. It kind of you look like a giant, and it's tiny. And so we made the same kind of shape, but in a telly size. So this fits in a telly case. So it's really convenient to get a case for, first of all, but it's also, that size when it hangs. So two P90s, real simple, switching, volume, tone, and then the pickup selector, stop tailpiece, and it's an Elliott Royal Haven. And so, it's a great guitar. It's got all kinds of sounds in it with two pickups. You can get the really warm front kind of sound, front pickup. And then the middle is a little more scooped out, it gets almost Strat sounding in the middle. Is my favorite because it's just the really gnarly. It growls, it just barks. It's got a really nice P90 sound to it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about stuff, but that's the guitar, the Royal Haven.
So, Drew, I'm not sure if you covered this in the rig right now, but it looks from this angle like the front pickup is a little further away from the neck than maybe a traditional neck
It certainly
pickup.
is, yeah, it is. So when we were talking about pickup spacing, I was talking with a friend of mine, Peter Stroud. He's a fantastic guitar player who's kind of become a friend over the years. He plays guitar for Sheryl Crow and among many other great artists. And he was like, you should look into the spacing on the 1960 special because that's the best spacing I've ever heard of P90s. And so with that advice, from Peter, I was like, okay, yeah, that's the jam, So Andy Elliott looked into it even further and then micro measured everything and was like, tell me what you think of this concept. And so I just said, well, I love it, man. Sounds phenomenal. So it was really, it came from that inspiration, and it is a little further away, but we found that, it just sounds more unique.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds better there.
Cool. All right, let's start taking some questions from YouTube here.
Yeah.
Ethan Palmer says, hey Drew, I would love to hear who some of your inspirations are and any advice you have for aspiring guitarists. Thank you to you and the rest of Switchfoot for being such an inspiration to me.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah. So inspirations, I'll tell you, going back to high school, honestly, actually early college, I saw a band, and this is, some of you will not know who this is, and some of you will be like, I have no idea. Violet Burning was playing on a flatbed truck in a field, you know, and I was in college, and I remember just being like, yeah, let's go to this late night show, and we were watching this band, Violet Burning, and I was just like, wow, I've never heard a guitar player play like this. Well, the guy playing was Sean Tubbs, and he was in that band starting off, and Sean is a guy I looked up to for years and years and years, and you know, finally got to meet him a few times when he was playing for a couple different bands, Crystal Lewis, and then a bunch of different artists, and now he plays for Carrie Underwood, and he's a fantastic, he's a beast of a player. He does a ton of videos and stuff like that. But he honestly is the one, when I saw him play on that flatbed truck in the middle of Redlands, California, when I was in college, I just looked at him and I was like, if I could do that, if I could do something like that, because I couldn't actually do that, but if I could do something like that, that would be my goal. And so, yeah, so he's become a friend. And you know what's cool is, like, when artists are, you know, and I've taken this approach too, they welcome a person, like, asking them questions, and then, you know, give them advice and kind of be a mentor. I mean, it's sort of like a unspoken mentorship program kind of thing. So
yeah, I've seen some of Sean's demos. I think he did some stuff for Petty John as well.
He did, yeah. And
yeah, he's just a great player.
Yeah, I was just playing the Petty John, and I just saw his demo of that a couple days ago, where he does these sustaining notes, and I have no idea how he does this kind of whip slide thing. It's like boom, boing, boing, boing. Anyways, Sean, if you're watching, you rule.
Was this in San Diego?
So that was in just north of San Diego in Redlands, California.
Oh,
so
okay.
that was early, and then, you know, I got started with blues. You know, I started with acoustic, you know, and then everyone does, like, let's play some acoustic jams, like GCD, Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Great. I'm learning that. I'm learning some songs at church, and then I was like, well, I think I can play electric guitar. So started with blues. I listened to B.B. King and Stevie Ray Vaughan and all the great blues players, and Albert Lee, and I kind of went deep into that because of an art teacher at school who was like, oh, you've never heard of Leadbelly? Hey, let me give you his record. And I was like, okay, so I got way into it. And then, you know, after that, I got into, like, Rush, you know, and I saw Primus open for him, and we were talking about that earlier. And then after that, the grunge hit, so I got way into Pearl Jam, and then Guns N' Roses, and started covering, you know, all their songs, and loving it. And so now, you know, so those players, obviously Slash, who I kind of met one time, but it's a joke because you'll have to see the Fading West movie where he completely ignores me. I was like, hey, Slash, how's it going? He just walks by. I was like, I just met Slash. And my bandmates are like, no, you didn't. You didn't meet Slash. He didn't even look at you. But it's all good. You know, Robin Ford, oh my gosh, there's so many great players. And, you know, Johnny Lang, and I've had the, you know, we've got to meet up with him and at our Nashville show, even when I was doing that Rig Rundown. Johnny came out, and I was like, man, this is insane. Like, to be able to, you know, but I'll just say a quick word, you know, on that mentor thing. It's got my brain thinking about something, Jason, and whoever's watching. Do what you do, you know? I mean, it's easy to look at a player and be like, I want to copy them, but you've been given a voice yourself. You've been given something that you do, and it might be like Neil Young, where he just does a solo where it's just like one note, you know, and he's just, and then he finishes, and you're just like, that was insane. Or he might be the kind of person that rips, like, shredding lots of notes, whatever it is. I mean, I'm just gonna say a quick encouragement to all the guitar players playing, to just use your voice, find your voice. I'm not the fastest player, I'm not the best player, but I just do what I do. You know, I do what I do, and you can be confident in that. And so that's just free. So let's move on to everyone's like, all right, cool, thanks, teacher.
Great. And then, so we talked about inspirations and aspiring guitarists, and you kind of touched on one of the pedals, the Petty John, that we had talked about, but since your Rig Rundown, you've kind of swapped in a few things. Let's talk a little bit about, and the one thing we were talking about before we started was your delay. So let's talk about how you use delay on your pedal board, and which delay pedals are you using?
Fantastic. Yeah, so right now I've got the Panther delay from JHS right here, and it kind of sounds like this. It's kind of a memory man-esque. It's got a bit of modulation in the delay. You know, it's set for like maybe 3 after, and I've got a tap that's an extension button over here so that I can reach it easily, and it kind of sounds like this. Yeah, so really nice. It's an analog sounding delay, which I love. So I've got that for a standard tap delay. And then I've got an AD9, which I've always loved through the years, and it does a lot of different effects. I've got it set up kind of like this, so that when I swell in a note or hold a note, it kind of goes for a while. Let's see, what song do I kind of use that mostly on? Obviously with a reverb, but here's this delay, and then also, you know, use it for the long spaceship sound. It's fun to make it overload with repeats, but you can make it really musical. In the song Float, actually, a lot of the spaceship sounds you hear are that pedal. You can hear a sweep up and down and behind the main riff, which, you know, that the main thing is just this. You know, and then you've got these. You know, these notes behind it where it's like, you know, it's doing all that kind of stuff. So that's the AD9.
And do you find that you use delay more as a specific effect for a part of a song instead of like a general use on your sound, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
My general use sound is dry, and then the delay is always an added thing. You know, it's you know, over the years I've found, you know, the clarity really helps in the front of house. You know, if you're just listening to your part, it might be like, wow, this sounds really great with delay. You know, it's like sounds so full, but in a band setting, you know, you think about your part in the band needs to poke through right here, and when it's got all this delay happening. So I actually use delay pretty sparingly. You know, I'll use it for an intro of Dare, and then maybe turn it off even during the choruses and stuff.
Quick request, Christian Fahey, hope I'm saying that right, asks if you can play the opening riff of Let It Out.
Yeah, Let It Out. Okay, so Let It Out is a fuzz pedal. So I've got a custom made fuzz pedal here called the Bun Runner by JHS. And Let It Out, I always darken the tone knob for the I use a lot of volume and tone mods during the show. Obviously, you should just use your ear for all those. But so I darken up the tone, and then the fuzz pedal sounds best when it's on about 8. So here's the beginning. It's like A and E, but it's just in different an A up here, and then a B to a C sharp. So just 2 notes there. Sounds kind of interesting. If you put more notes than that in a fuzz pedal, it'll sound like. muddy-ish, so I just... Yeah, so... Yeah, so that's my fuzz pedal. It's my favorite one, it's a tone bender on one side and then a classic kind of fuzz on the other, like a real two different ones, and I usually just play them both together.
And so what you were doing there, you had which side were you playing on
I was playing both.
Oh, okay.
So I always play them both together, and it gets.
And then you had the delay on. Was that the?
Yeah. One? So when I would go to that second part, I had to kick the delay on for that little. Oh yeah, it's that thing. You know, just for that little. It's like a keyboard sound that I'm doubling there in that part. And then there's no delay on that part. There's a little reverb, but... Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, Thomas O asks, which Switchfoot song is the most difficult to play in a night?
Well, that's a good question. Which one's the most difficult? You know, some of them are difficult for different reasons, I guess. There's a song called Where the Light Shines Through that we have, that's John and I, and the timing of it is just really hard because it's me and John, we have to line it up perfectly, and he likes to play it a little behind the beat, so I have to really watch him, and my part is this. It's like... It seems simple, but he's playing this thing where he's like, or whatever he plays. Wherever his part is, but he's doing this kind of,
like a real swung
like
type
swung
thing.
like crazy, and that's how he likes it. So I'm always kind of like, so it's tricky to line up. That one's...
Is that on the set list for tonight?
Yeah, that's on there for tonight. And then we do this breakdown in the middle, and it's always like... So our set is... it's a little funny because we don't use any tracks, okay? So, yeah, and it's sort of like we can change the songs at any moment, which, nowadays is different for a lot of bands. They're like, what? You don't use any tracks? I thought you used tracks. No, we just... But, John will say, like, let's go to the bridge, or literally, let's skip that song, or I'll start a song and it'll be Hello Hurricane, so I'm starting it, and I'm like... And then he'll be like, this is a song called One Tonight, and I'm like, oh no, and I have to... Yeah.
So you really got to pay attention.
You have to really pay attention. Yeah. John is notorious for, just like changing the songs on the fly, which is fun. It's live music.
Yeah.
The audience can tell it's all, and we're having fun doing it too. So, and it's funny because sometimes the mistakes you make, people remember those and love them the most. Like, dude, I was at the concert where you totally went into the wrong song.
Great.
It was awesome. And I'm like, well, I was really nervous about that. I'm glad it made you happy.
So when you guys kind of get ready for a tour, do you kind of plan your pedal board around, okay, we're going to be playing these songs and I'm going to need a specific sound for this one and this one, so I better bring these pedals? Or is this kind of a general toolbox, and anything you might need from any Switchfoot song you can get out of here?
To be honest, it's a general toolbox, man. We do a lot of fly dates as well, so I have to have pedals that will work on backline amps for me, and so I've sort of landed in a place where I design it for what I like live with the amps I'm playing live for that tour. But then I think what I do is I throw in a couple of extra things that I know will work for me no matter what amp I'm given. So for instance, like the Greer Lightspeed right here that I'm playing, like let's say I was backlined this amp. So this Supro is fantastic. It's there's a brand new model, but I haven't.
Statesman, yeah, we just got that in, yeah.
It's phenomenal, but I don't play it live. So if I showed up with my rig, this would be my normal distortion sound in Switchfoot, but through this amp it doesn't sound the same. So so I would normally be able to play Meant to Live like with this pedal, but through this amp, since it's not as overdriven as I usually set up mine to be, it's not saturating the amp like it would. So I would use my Pettyjohn live for this one, and I would have to, turn the drive up a lot. So my Pettyjohn, this Pettyjohn iron, I've found I can use for any amp anywhere. It's like a amp in a box that I can sound good no matter what. And it would. Honestly, even then, with it as much as I normally put it, it still hasn't given me as much gain as I would want out of the amp. So I would probably use both of them in conjunction if I was using this amp. Let's see. So then I'd probably, I would even want more than that. So yeah, you're right. So I guess the point is you need a lot of different tools depending on what amp you show up to play through to try to get the sound that you want for your voice.
So on fly dates, do you take your main pedal board here, or do you have even something even smaller?
Yeah, I take this.
Okay.
And then a couple of extra pedals in my bag just in case.
And what's your typical, if you have to put an amp on a rider for a backline, what would be?
AC30.
AC30?
Yeah, because everyone's got one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Let's see what other questions we have people coming in.
It's fun, man.
Can you play Lonely Nation? Somebody wants to ask if you can show us how to play that.
Lonely Nation is the fuzz pedal. And the main riff is like a... So I'm doubling the bass line for the main riff, and it's like... There's this part that comes in, and I usually put some motion on it. For the verse. And then it goes, switches back to the... drop D. I'm in drop D, so this is that top string is a D. That's just tuned down, and then it's these kind of block chords. So it's just the top two. So it's just it's kind of a tricky part because you're doing some muting of the top strings while you're hitting these low ones, so it sounds like it kind of seesaws back and forth. But yeah, so that's the chorus of Lonely Nation.
So you flipped on. Let's go into another pedal. You flipped on there for was it the tremolo there?
Yeah, so check this out. This is the Julia by Walrus, and it's phenomenal. I love listen how deep this pedal is. I use it for, let's see, for float, for the main solo part, I use this pedal. It sounds like this. Sounds like this. It's phenomenal, yeah. It's a great pedal, and then you can get trippy with it when you, if you do some stuff. I do a lot of fade-ins with it on, and it sounds like a bit of an organ.
So a lot of people have been asking here about, we've touched on a handful of pedals, but let's just kind of walk through your signal chain of how it kind of winds itself through this pedal board.
Great.
So it starts from your guitar,
so guitar,
and you plug right into the board, actually.
I do,
right?
man. I can't use wireless. I'm just, I guess, old school like that. So a cord.
And I know the pedal board's hard to see because of the camera angle, but we'll make sure to take a picture and post it after
for
this.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys can post. So I go into the board. The first thing I hit is my gain section. I always do gain, modulation, delay, reverb. So I hit the gain, and I go light, medium, heavy, which is my light speed by Greer Amps, my Petty John iron, it's my middle, and then the Bun Runner, JHS Bun Runner fuzz pedal. And then I hit my tuner. And I do that so that if it's loud, like let's say I finish a song, it's like that, my tuner turns it all off. So, you know, I put that purposefully after my gain. And then, and then I hit modulation, which is the Julia by Walrus Audio for some movement. It also does chorus really well too if I change the settings. The Monument by Walrus is a tremolo. I guess I haven't played that, but it's cool because you can tap and release, so it's like
A momentary switch on it.
Yeah, so I don't do a whole lot of songs that have a tremolo for the whole track. So I use it as an effect for just a moment. So after the modulation, I hit delay. So it goes the Julia, then the Monument, and then it goes into the Panther delay by JHS, and then it goes into the Ibanez 89, and then it goes into the Matthews Effects Astronomer, which is the reverb, and it's cool. It's got a light reverb, which is like this. I kind of simulate a room just to give that effect, and then I've got a remote button here that activates the second setting of the Astronomer, which is the shimmer effect. And then I go into this radial tone bone to split to 2 amps. I always play with 2 amps. One is primarily clean, and the other one I just get really gnarly. I like a small amp, like even a 5-watt amp, or like a little Supro. I've used Super a lot on tour. I've used my Revival amp line, which I had for a while. Long story, but phenomenal amps is still. And now I'm using Elliott Amps. So I use this tone bone to split to them, and I just can't say enough about it. I mean, you guys, the radial tone bone is a boost as well. As it's got, polarity, because with 2 amps you're gonna have to worry about it'll be in and out of phase every night, which is sort of this mystery. I don't know why it's like that. But then so, and it's got a ground lift on it too. So that's pretty much it. And I go straight into the front end of the amps, no effects loop, and I just use 2 amps. One's primarily clean and one's dirty.
And did you mention that little Ace pedal
yeah,
there right
so
above
this is something me and Josh are working on. He made this boost for me. It's my favorite boost I've ever had, and it's different than his the Rabbit in the Hat one. I don't remember what that one's called. It's early. What time is it? Anyways, it was a late night. But anyways, this is an Ace boost, but we're kind of working on maybe something in the future to release. He hasn't released this. It's like a custom pedal. So I love, new companies that are not new. JHS obviously isn't new, but companies that are pushing the boundaries and testing new stuff. And I just obviously, like all of you guys, just geek out over all that stuff.
Cool. So, and then you have a creation board there, right? And that's how so everything's kind of wired underneath. Yeah,
it's all wired underneath. Oh, and underneath I've got the Walrus Audio brick of power. What is it, the Phoenix?
I think so, yeah. I have a question. So with all these pedals, and you're kind of walking through some of these songs where you have multiple pedals on at the same time.
Yeah.
What has prevented you from going to more of a switcher setup than individual pedals? So with one switch, you could go from these 3 and those 3.
Yeah. Someone just texted me that last week. It was funny. Maybe it was Mason Stoops or somebody. I don't know. He was we were texting back and forth, and he was like, "Hey man, have you ever messed around with the switchers things that get all this?" Like, no, I haven't. I think I kind of enjoy the chaos of it a little bit. To be honest with you, just the ability to just be creative with them. I know exactly what all these pedals do, and I know exactly what all the settings do. So, I'm so familiar with them that I can really use it like I don't know, like you're cooking or something, and you're just, no, I think it needs a little more hot sauce tonight, or I want it to be a little.
You want a more tactile response on something.
I like the tactile response. I'm turning knobs during the show. I'm modifying my job is to play guitar and have good sound. So, that's where my mind is at the whole show. I mean, yeah, I'm thinking about performing, but I'm also thinking, like, how can I make this sound better for this song constantly? So yeah, I've never gotten into one of those, not yet. So, but maybe the next rig rundown,
Yeah. So you mentioned we weren't able to bring it in today, but your Elliott Amps. So tell us a little bit, like, some of the specs behind that, and what was kind of your vision with using that.
So Andy Elliott makes this Royal Haven signature, and I've got the Tone Master as well as his Telly, and phenomenal guitar maker. And he's like, hey, I'm going to make some amps. Would you be willing to road test them? And I was like, if anyone asked me to, play amps, my answer is yes, almost always, because I'm just like excited about new gear. So so they're combo amps. They are a 12-inch speaker and just a tone and volume for each of them. They're modeled after like a Tweed Deluxe. So there's there's a 12AX7, there's an AR4, and then there's and then 6v6, and it's low wattage. To be honest, they're not very loud. This is much louder than the amps I play like on stage, which is my thing. I like low wattage amps turned up. So I've got them both pretty, like, turned up pretty well. One of them's less to be clean, but really to get clean, I need to use a Telly and then back the volume off. So I use my guitars in a stack of gain as well. They're a part of the gain structure. This guitar has a higher output, so if I'm playing this through my amps, it's going to be dirty the whole time. So I pick up the Telly for the clean songs. So yeah, those are the Elliott Amps, and you can check them out on their website too. I guess I should mention that they are for sale. They are out there. They are doing a launch of them right now. So as well as this guitar, I just talked to them on the way, and they're building the first run of these right now. So if you know anything about Elliott guitars, you know that they're just handmade with a precision and an artistic excellence that is hard to find.
So in our rig rundown, you also brought an Elliott, the Peter Stroud signature model. So is your kind of guitar boat kind of similar to what we saw in the rig rundown?
It is, yeah. It's exactly the same. So yeah, I just have an arsenal of Elliott guitars. So I'm a lucky guy.
All right, we're gonna fire off to kind of wrap up here. We are gonna fire off some rapid fire questions, Drew. Okay. These may or may not be guitar related.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Jonathan Diaz, what was your favorite moment in the tour with Relient K?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we punked them. We pranked them at the end of the tour, and all ran out on stage and stole their buffalo. So they have this buffalo that they put as a set piece, and they've done it for years. It's this life-size buffalo. And we ran out in masks like bandits, stole the buffalo, and then crowd surfed it back to stage. Anyways, it was just a good moment. Those are great guys.
All right. Pasta Matt asks, I've heard you use some Trainwreck style amps. Which models have you tried, and when and where did you use them?
Yeah, so my friend Hubie, who's a great man of tone. Is that a sentence? He's a great man of tone. Anyways, he turned me on to Trainwreck. He was a friend of the builder who's passed away, but
Ken Fisher.
Ken Fisher, thanks. And he he turned me on to them, and I don't have a Trainwreck. I have a clone. He got me it's a Comet clone that and I've used it in the studio, and it's the most harmonically delicious sound. It's so rich sounding, and one thing is that I like live though is an amp that's kind of a little bit not perfect sounding, so some of the boutique stuff sounds a little too perfect for me. I think rock and roll music, it needs to have a little danger to it, and the amps really add that bite and danger. So I haven't used it live, but in the studio I've used it on a grip of tracks to get great guitar sounds. So yeah, Trainwreck.
All right, Jude Tolson asks, if you could only take one pedal and one amp on tour, what would you take?
Yeah. Man, I would take a Tube Screamer or a Tube Screamer type pedal. I mean, I like the Lightspeed. That's my Tube Screamer, to be honest, right now. And an amp, I would take my Princeton. I have a Fender Princeton that is the most used amp in the studio and on all of our records. And it's basically a 70 or 71 that my friend Eric Burns modded to be, healthy and like a blackface, and it's a Princeton Reverb. That would be it.
Excellent. Christian DeSalvo asks, do you ever work on solo music? Awesome playing, man.
Oh, thanks. I've been messing around with solo riffs, but I work in the band totally right now, completely. So, I did a solo project and with a couple friends and never released it because I just thought the timing wasn't right, I guess. I just, I didn't feel it. I wasn't feeling it just yet. So someday.
All right, Sonic Caleb asks, what happened to the Eastern Hymns for Western Shores EP?
Oh, good question. Yeah, so that was a Switchfoot thing. That was we did release it. I mean, well, some of the songs from it, we just we have so many songs, you guys. I guess we like John Foreman is an avid songwriter, so like we really do have a vault of songs. And so we have to work with release projects and record companies and kind of things to like not just like floodgates open, but someday those will all come out. Hopefully, yeah. There's a lot of cool songs in there.
When Cantique Esquivel, probably saying that wrong.
Cantique Esquivel.
When will your music from Fading West film be released?
Oh, it's out.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get it. Check out the Fading West album. A lot of that is the music from the film. But there are some just soundtrack pieces that I played and different guys played that are just in the movie. Those are just for the movie.
Excellent. And we're going to wrap up with one more question, then we'll have you kind of play us out.
Great.
So what song right now on the set list do you, when you see it, you're like, oh, I can't wait for that? Whether it's a crowd reaction or a part that you just really love digging into.
Yeah.
But what's the song that you hate when it doesn't make the cut in the set list?
Oh, man. I'm fortunate to be in a band that I really like all of our songs. And that's honest. It really is. Like, even when we play Meant to Live and Dare, I'm like, these are great songs. I haven't gotten sick of them, over the many years that we've been touring. But a song that I really look forward to playing is, I really like the sound. It's a darker, introspective kind of sounding rock song, and we don't always play it, and there's a lot of space in the middle of it to like get crazy with effects and then a little solo section as well. So there's that. Oh, but I also really like what's the one? It's let's see. Oh yeah, Saltwater Heart. Thank you. Someone said it, and I heard you. No, I didn't. But Saltwater Heart, I really like too. It's rhythmic, and I like bands like that, Phoenix, and like we kind of modeled it after like rhythmic pop. So Saltwater Heart or The Sound. Those would be my two favorites. Yeah.
All right. So where can people go online to find out more about you guys' tour this summer with Lifehouse? You guys just started just like yesterday or something.
Yeah. This is our second show right here, and we're gonna rename this town Premier Guitar Town. So obviously Switchfoot.com. It's super easy. Just go there. You can see our tour dates. You can buy tickets there. You can sign up for an email communication to get notified of stuff. You can follow me on Drew Shirley. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, socials. You can buy this guitar at Elliott Guitars. We're on a bus traveling the country. We've got about 30 shows right now coming up ahead of us. They're all U.S. Chances are we're coming to your area, so come out and see a show. It's live music. Like I said, no tracks. We don't know what's going to happen. But I'll
and
have,
if they're lucky, you might mess up a song.
Yeah, if you're lucky, I'll really screw something up. It'll be funny. We'll just laugh about it because, we don't take ourselves too seriously.
Cool. Well, why don't you play us out with some kind of noise sound collage there, Drew? Oh, somebody, last question. Grinch face? Is this, several people have asked about the Grinch face.
It's the Joker face, you guys.
Oh, the Joker face.
Did someone say Grinch?
Several people have called it Grinch.
It's the Joker, not the Grinch. Yeah, I was a drama kid in high school, so I just mess around on our podcasts. So watch our podcasts, and also we're coming out with new podcasts, which people used to love our podcast thing, which is where I did the Joker face originally, just messing around. It kind of became a thing. So yeah, check out our new podcast and you'll see it. So there's a little hook. All right, well, you guys, thanks for having me. Be inspired. I'm just gonna make something up. It's not really a Switchfoot song, but it's music. And thanks for watching, and tune in again. And thanks, big thanks to you, Jason. Big thanks to Premier Guitar and all that you guys do, because I'm watching your stuff too. I'm watching all your rig rundowns and all of your content online. So
thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys having me.